Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you guys here on this, the first of the month, 1st of June. It's Thursday, the 1st of June, 2023. Thank you for tuning in. Glad to have you here. So here's what's going on. First off, Ukraine is saying, okay, we want a massive demilitarized zone. And they want it on the Russian side of the border. They wanted 100 to 120 kilometers inside Russia. Now, I'm just going to ask a question about this. If they're going to have a demilitarized zone, shouldn't they have it right on the border? Or maybe just inside Ukraine? Just question I'm asking, you know? Why is it they want it way in deep inside Russia? It doesn't really make much sense to me, and somebody could explain that to me, why they want it there. As terms for talks with Russia, as a stipulation for talks with Russia. Because I don't think Russia's going to go for that. Just my opinion on it. I don't know, Okay, and in other news, war rhetoric is heating up. The whole war thing's heating up desperate hot. There's been incidents that have occurred with jets in the air. And Xi Jinping has sounded the alert. They're having secret security meetings and things like that. And he's huddling with security heads. And he is preparing for the worst, what he calls dangerous storms. Right on here. That area is turning into a very, very dangerous zone right now around the South China Sea and in the area around Taiwan. And things turned really negative, back when, just after Pelosi made her trip to Taiwan. Things have been turning very negative since that point till now, and it's just getting worse and worse. We're watching that situation too, because the potential for world war right now has never been higher, ever. I remember back, I lived during the Cold War. And so I can tell you guys right now that tensions are much, much worse. Things are much, much worse than they were during the Cold War right now. Much more dangerous. And there's a hot war ongoing right now amidst the Cold War. The hot war I'm talking about is in Ukraine. Now, moving on to other things. I spotted this in the Zero Hedge, this article, and it was a sponsored content, meaning it's paid for content, advertisement, right? But it says Dr. Peter McCullough, understanding spike shedding. You guys know what I'm talking about spike proteins, talking about the virus. The virus that came along 2020. And I got thinking about this. I took a quick look at this article, and I know that it's sponsored content, but I got thinking about it. Got me thinking about COVID and the options. What's really going on out there? Seemingly, to all of us out here in our audience, you guys, me included, it just seems like COVID's kind of gone. But it's not gone. So what's really going on? And I thought of two possibilities. I'm going to run it by you guys, what I think might be going on. One possibility is that COVID's went underground. Do you remember when COVID was first going around? They said, I think it was up to 60% of the people that would catch it would have it in what's called asymptomatic. Asymptomatic means you got no symptoms whatsoever. You don't even know you got the thing. And because it was a novel coronavirus, a lot of the people that caught it asymptomatically and didn't know they had it, other people, the symptoms manifested and they went in and got tested and it showed that they have it. COVID became so, in its iterations, in its many different forms that it came along. You remember Omicron and this, there's so many different names for them, there's so many different forms of it. in its iterations, as many different types or copies of itself, it continued to become more and more contagious. It got to the point of being so contagious, it was like unbelievably contagious. And it had that element to it where it was asymptomatic, meaning you didn't have any symptoms. So a possibility in my mind is that it is still here, but because the people have had it once and got sick, maybe they're having it again, but in an asymptomatic fashion, they don't even know they have it. That's a possibility, right? And it's still being spread out there, but people are sick with it, but they don't know they're sick with it because they don't have any symptoms whatsoever. They feel fine. Oh, I feel fine. But they might have it. That's a possibility. But meanwhile, if that is true, then you would still have the spike proteins going around inside your body while you got it in an asymptomatic fashion, doing somewhat damage to your system. Right? Then there's another possibility. There's a possibility that, yes, it went through the population. We built up natural immunity, and being the natural immunity plus the shots or whatever, it's disappeared and it's gone now. It's really gone, but maybe just a few people have it in society here and there. You know, some people still have it and are being sick with it. But it's not like it was. Not so many people are being sick with it. Just a few now. And basically what it's done is it's become endemic in the population. There's that possibility. So those are the two possibilities I see that could be going on out there right now. Neither one of them are good, and I'll explain to you why. It is because even if it's a natural immunity possibility, is why we're not seeing so much COVID now, still, you'd have to understand something about that. That as time progresses, as years go by, the immunity will wane. Just like when you have the flu, you know? You have the flu, for a while after, you're immune to the flu for a while, or somewhat immune to it. A few years goes by and you get the flu again. You get it. The longer it goes, the less immunity you have, and the worse the case of the flu you get. So what I'm thinking is, if it's natural immunity, then after a couple years goes by, there's going to be people out there someplace in the world that still have COVID. And if the natural population, their immunity starts to go down as time progresses, we might be in for another bout of the damn thing. If that's the case. And if the other case is true, where it's spreading asymptomatically amongst the population, well, it's just going to keep hanging around and around and around. So either way, we entered a new world when we entered this COVID world. We entered a world of pain. And what can I say? We've never faced anything like this before. Ever in the history of viruses has there ever been anything like this before. And I hope I didn't spoil you guys' day by talking about that. But it has to be said. I mean, we have to discuss subject matters sometimes that are distasteful. I know everybody's had their fill up to here with COVID. You know, I mean, I hate the damn thing myself. I mean, I just wish, I really hope it's absolutely gone, and never comes back. Okay, we're going to take a look at something else here. A federal judge has made history in holding that border searches of cell phones require a warrant. So this, when I read this morning, I said, hey, you know, yeah. But then I got thinking about it, and I said, hey, you know what? If they require a warrant to search a cell phone, let's say this went through and they required a warrant, that'd make a perfect place to it's a small box. It's basically a small box is what your cell phone is. You know, the thing is I got thinking about this, and I said, well, they can smuggle things, you know, inside. So yeah, they should be allowed to search. But the thing is there's a difference between what's inside your cell phone and the data that's on your cell phone. And what they're talking about here is to search a cell phone is to search the data that's on the cell phone. And that's private information, as far as I'm concerned. and basically should be nobody's business except your own. The inside, the guts of your cell phone, the hardware that makes your cell phone run, that should be searchable, because they could hide opioids or anything inside the damn thing, and yeah, they should allow them to search inside the phone. And so I just don't know how much of a blanket thing this is. Is this a blanket thing where they wouldn't be able to touch your cell phone at all? Because border agents should be able to search in and find things like counterband. They should be able to find it in anywhere and not leave any excuse for people to hide something like that. So I was just wondering about this when I read about it. Does it include the inside of your phone? Because they should be able to search the inside of your phone. That should be permissible without a warrant at the border agencies, because that's part of their job, is to keep counterband from coming into countries. And it's a serious job. It should be taken seriously. And we might complain and everything, but they actually do a pretty good job of stopping counterband, and they're getting better at what they do. It's getting to be less troublesome because they've streamlined it now at airports and stuff. It's more streamlined than it used to be. It's much better than it used to be. They're getting better at it, at what they do. Anyway, moving on. Let's talking about other things here. Talking about silver. Now, why are we seeing a jump in the price of silver today? Well, it's because they passed the deal. And they're just proven now that they're just going to keep printing to infinity. And so what we're going to see is things aren't good. The Fed is tightening, but they're tightening into weakness. And so when that turns around on them, they're going to have to do the same thing as they did with the debt ceiling eventually. And so we're just going to see this steady but slow at first, and then later I think it's going to pick up steam, a rise in the price of precious metals. And so I'm almost looking at it right now like this is your base price. We're on the bottom floor right now practically, because of years and years of using the paper short markets to manipulate the price downwards. We're still on the bottom floor of what could be a very big bull market that might last for years and years and years. Gold today. Gold is up $19 at $19.81. Now, all that printing that just went on. Oh boy, there you go. Look at the price of gold and silver. Taking a look now at cryptocurrencies, and we're seeing that Bitcoin is at 26,928, and we're seeing Ethereum at 1862. Taking a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average today, it's 197 points to the upside at 33,106 for the Dow Jones. So you're seeing the effect in the markets today. You're seeing the effect of them raising the debt ceiling in the Dow Jones. The dollar's going down. Gold and silver's going up because those are counter to the dollar. Bitcoin is holding good, and the markets are going up, and oil prices going up. Just take a look at this. Oil prices shot up $2.47 today alone at $70.56. So you can see commodities are be boosted. Whenever they print a lot of money, commodities are boosted. The dollar loses value. This is exactly what you should expect. And this is going to continue. And this is going to get a lot worse because we're on the verge of something the Fed's done that's a delayed effect. The Fed, with their tightening schedule, that's probably one of the worst in history, is going to have a delayed effect upon the economy that they're going to have to stimulate their way out of at some point in the very near future. Taking a look at bonds today, we're seeing bond yields are falling on the long end. We're looking at a 10-year at 3.6 and a 30-year at 3.8, and we're seeing that the 10-year has fell 3.1 basis points and the 30 years fell 2 basis points today. And look at this dollar today. And this signals it all to you guys right here. The dollar's dropping. It's dropped almost a penny. It's dropped 0.71 and it's at 103.62 and falling. Well, eventually, you guys could say goodbye to the dollar eventually, and it's not going to take that long when it really gets going. Because what happens is it's a self-feeding, self-perpetuating cycle. And when it really starts to energize itself in this downward slide, we could see like $700 billion of worth of treasury bonds held by Japan and China start to flow back into the country in terms of dollars flowing back. And a lot more. Investors in the United States is $20 trillion in the banking system, and they might say to themselves, hey, you know what? I ain't going to keep my money in dollars anymore. Where are they going to put it? Believe it or not, if they want to keep it in a monetary aspect, they only got cryptos, gold, and silver. If they want to be out of dollar-denominated assets and they don't want to buy something like real estate or antique cars or paintings or anything like that, there's only gold, silver, and cryptos. And amongst those, the safest is gold and silver. In my opinion, that's the safest bet. Because you don't know what could happen with cryptos. If power goes out, crypto don't even work. Gold and silver, you've still got your money. If power go out or not. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to my show. You guys have a great afternoon, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.